Hello everyone, my name is Bukky. Welcome to my channel, your number one place where you learn about personal finance and career. And today we are going to talk about how to cope with unemployment. Okay, some time ago I met Lara, and when I met Lara, Lara was going through unemployment, right? And it was a very sad time for her. She felt the world is crumbling. She felt her whole existence is going to be wiped off. She felt she's alone, and she felt a lot of anguish, right? Because all her life depended on this job. However, Lara didn't give up. I shared with Lara these 7 steps or these 6 steps that I'm going to share with you today. And Lara used the steps, to overcome these very perilous times. And that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today. And why is this topic important? It's important because a lot of people, they have reached out to me asking me questions, okay, because maybe they are threatened about their job or they are going through unemployment right now, right? And they are asking me, so how do I cope with this? What do I do? What do you suggest? Advise me. And I believe that's something that I could share with even a larger audience, right? And that's why I'm sharing this story today. So the first thing that Lara did was that Lara let out her emotions, and that's the first thing you have to do, or the first thing I would recommend that you do. Unemployment is not a good thing. Like getting laid off or losing your job is not a good thing, and something very emotional because it's also very personal, so it's okay to let out your emotions, and people have different ways with which they let out their emotions. Some of us, we cry like Lara, because Lara cried a lot. Some people, what they do was they just get involved in high intensity sports, right? Which some people would do. Some people, maybe they get into eating a lot, but then make sure that while you're letting out the emotions, don't do things that would complicate your issues, or like drinking a lot and all of those things. Don't do those, or doing drugs. Don't do that, but let out your emotions in a reasonable way. And that's the first thing I would recommend. The second thing Lara did was that Lara got support. She reached out to to friends, to family members, to old colleagues, to old managers, people who she had worked with. So it's like an ecosystem for her, a community, right? So that is one of the things you want to do. You don't want to go through that journey alone, because I can tell you that that journey is really very lonely, and you don't want to be alone. So reach out to people that you can trust, that would help you boost your confidence, because the other thing is that during unemployment, the confidence can be really, really low. Your level of confidence can be really, really low. So you need that ecosystem to boost your confidence and tell you that, what, after this dark tunnel, there's a lightning. And that's the second thing you have to do. Reach out to people, reach out to your community. The third thing I told Lara to do was, Lara, get your finances straight. Okay, now, why is this important? Because I can tell you that if you're unemployed, and maybe before that phase happened, you didn't have any emergency fund separated, you will be under a lot of pressure, right? So because then you have to pay the bills. You can't tell the doctor, or you can't tell your what's it called now, your landlord, that you don't have money. No, nobody's going to hear that, because your rent is like their investment they've made, so they also need to take care of their own bills, right? So you want to get your finances in order. And how do you go about it? You reduce your expenses. There are some expenses that are not your needs, they're just wants. You want to reduce it, right? Maybe you've been giving some amount out to some people. It's okay to give, but you want to reduce all of those things, because if you have a log in your high, you remove that log first before you remove the log in your friend's high. Just the same way that if you're on a flight with your child, the air hostess will tell you, in case of anything, when the oxygen mask comes down, you have to use it for yourself first before your child. The same thing in this case. You have to secure your own finances first before you start giving out money again. All right. And then the other thing is that what helped Lara, however, was that she had an emergency fund, and which is again very important. So if you're currently employed, do not forget to always have some emergency funds. Put some money aside in a separate bank account, anywhere you want to put it, in a very liquid asset. I don't care, just put it aside, so that in case anything like that happens, like unemployment happens, you are not dependent on bank loans, friends loan, credit cards to meet your immediate needs. Rather, you can reach out into this separate fund, into this emergency fund, to finance yourself until you get a job or you get a business running. So don't forget, that is the third thing you have to do. The fourth thing, of course, you have to do would be then apply, right? So it could be that if you have an heads up before the unemployment phase happened, you could already start applying again, because it's always good not to have a break within your jobs. So if it's okay for you, if you can easily actually get another job before that unemployment thing happened, go ahead for it. But if it was just a sudden one, like what was caused by COVID, then it's also not bad. But then start applying. One of Lara's friends that I met at some point, he also had the same experience. He was laid off. However, what did this guy do? He was applying, but then he was getting some rejections, saying we cannot offer you this position. But he told me that anytime he gets one rejection, it sends back 4 new applications. It was that deliberate, that hardcore. So you also want to do maybe the same thing. You don't want to just get the punch of rejection and just let go. You want to fight back. And how do you fight back? You keep reapplying and reapplying and reapplying. And that's the way you have to go. So muster up all the energy, all the courage that you have, and apply. Okay, so that's the fourth advice I would give to you. And while you're preparing for that job interviews, I also have some videos on this channel where you can go through to see how to prepare for those upcoming interviews. The fifth thing that Lara did was that she had to get a new skill. So you could get a new skill in terms of the industry that you are in. Maybe there's a new trend or a new IT skill or a new program that you need to learn during that time. Go ahead and get it, right? Maybe you go on LinkedIn and see what your industry is saying about new topics coming up. You could go on, there's a lot of mocks out there. There's Coursera, there's edX, there's Udemy, where you can buy courses and even get certification for top universities or Ivy Leagues in the world on how to use those skills. So go ahead, learn new skill, because unemployment also affords you the time that you will not have normally if you are employed. So you can look at it in a positive way, saying, okay, I have more time to learn this particular skill that I have always been interested in. So the sixth thing Lara did was that she prayed. Yes, I know you're not expecting this, but then, if you're a spiritual person or you're a person of faith, reach out to that being that is bigger than you, that controls things. Reach out to him or to her and ask for guidance. Pray that the universe smiles on you. Pray that God smiles on you. Pray that you have favor as you send out those applications. Pray that you have the courage to go through the troubling times. All right, guys. So that will be the sixth way, on how to cope with unemployment. All right, that'll be all from me today about how to cope with unemployment. So, but before I go, I would like to ask, especially if you've experienced, unemployment before in your life, how did you cope with it? How did you cope with it? What are the things you did, to overcome that phase of your life? Because it's something that, could get people actually really depressed if they don't come out of it on time. Okay. Thank you very much. Don't go away, stay back on my channel. There are so many other videos about career, about finances that you can learn about. And don't forget to like, also share to your community, comment. I would love to read from you if you have other tips on how people can cope with unemployment. All right, guys, I'll see you again in my next video. Bye bye.